Have you ever wondered why you can post high quality content for months, yet your views and sales won't budge? Most people blame a shadow ban or changing algorithm, but have you ever considered that you're simply building your channel on a broken foundation? Today, I'm showing you the system I use to generate millions of dollars in revenue, and the one simple reason 99% of videos fail before they're even uploaded. Look, I get it. It's frustrating to put in the work and get zero results. After 10 years in the trenches and helping hundreds of clients scale from 0 to 100K a month, I've realized that business growth isn't about luck. It's about data-driven strategy. Today, I'm giving you the exact blueprint to fix that foundation and turn your channel into a high-converting asset. We'll break down the 3 structural pillars you're missing so that you can stop chasing vanity metrics and start predictably converting viewers into customers. I'm going to reveal the #1 video killer that destroys 99% of channels later in this video. But first, you need to understand the first pillar of the framework that actually makes those millions of dollars possible. To dive into that first pillar, we have to address a fundamental shift in how you see YouTube. Most creators are stuck in the content trap. They think that if they just keep feeding the beast, posting 3 times a week, chasing trends, and keeping that content flowing, the money will eventually follow. But here's the hard truth. Content is a commodity, and commodities don't drive high-ticket revenue. I want you to stop treating your videos like content and start treating them like pathways. Do a quick mental audit of your recent uploads. Were you just checking a box on a schedule because a guru told you to be consistent? If so, you're creating filler, and filler is a one-way ticket to stagnation. A pathway video, on the other hand, is a video designed to bridge the gap between the viewer's current pain and your exact solution. Think about it this way. To make this work, you have to identify a single high-stakes problem your ideal customer is facing today. I'm not talking about generic advice or 5 tips for success. I'm talking about the exact thing that keeps them up at 2 o'clock in the morning. Every single second of your video needs to be hyper-focused on solving that one issue. If you're a real estate coach, don't talk about how to sell houses. You need to talk about how to handle a seller who refuses to drop their price. That's an exact problem demands a specific pathway. When you do this, you're utilizing what marketing psychologists call cognitive momentum. Research shows that a viewer is more likely to take action, like clicking your link, if they've just experienced a micro win. By solving that exact problem in the video, you're building the bridge. Most creators fail because their videos are dead ends. They entertain for 10 minutes. The viewer says, "Oh, that was nice." Then they click away to a cat video. You've left them at a dead end instead of mapping out exactly where they should go next, whether that's a lead magnet, a booking page, or a product. I've seen the data on this. Last year, we audited over 50 channels and found that generic content had a click-through rate to the offer of less than 0.1%. But when we swapped up to the pathway strategy, those conversions skyrocketed. One of our clients actually generated over 15K in revenue from a video with less than 500 views. Why? Because those 500 people were the exact people facing that exact problem she solved. Stop prioritizing broad reach and vanity metrics. 50K views from people who will never buy are worthless compared to 500 views from people who are ready to invest. Once you stop being a creator and start being a problem solver, your revenue will reflect it. But even with a perfect pathway, your video will still fail if you don't understand the psychological triggers that keep people watching long enough to see the solution. This leads us directly into the second pillar of our framework. So you've built your pathway, you've stopped the content trap, and identified the high-stakes problem your viewer is facing. But here's the frustrating reality. You can have the best solution in the world, but if your viewer clicks away before you present it, your revenue stays at 0. This is where most creators fall off a cliff. They think their job is to be an educator. They want to be helpful, so they jump right into the 3 tips, the how-to steps. But I want you to stop being a teacher and start being a storyteller of stakes. Think about it. Why does someone watch a thriller movie at 2 a.m? It's not because they're learning. It's because the tension is so high, they have to see how it ends. Your videos need that same gravity. You have to highlight the cost of inaction for every minute that viewer's problem remains unsolved. If they don't fix their conversion rate or their workout routine today, what does that cost them in 6 months? Is it 10K in lost sales? Is it their health? When you articulate the weight of the problem better than the viewer can, they don't just watch, they lean in. We actually proved this with a client in the SaaS business. They had a 10-minute masterclass that was essentially a teaching video. It got decent views, but booked 0 calls. Why? Because the viewers felt full after the video and they didn't feel that they needed to hire the people. We reshot that using a tension building method focused on the exact financial risks of the current setup. Even though that video got 30% fewer total views, it generated 12 qualified leads in the first week. The tension qualified the audience. To keep that tension high in your videos, you need to use what I call open loops. This is rooted in a psychological phenomenon where the human brain literally cannot stand an unfinished story or an unresolved gap in knowledge. By opening a loop, stating a problem or mystery that you won't resolve until the very end, you create a psychological itch that the viewer is hardwired to scratch. As you move through the video, you need to dismantle the false solutions. Your viewer already has tried the generic stuff. They've tried the free hacks, the surface level advice. If you don't call these out and explain why they failed, you're just another voice in the noise. By eliminating the wrong paths, you position your exact pathway as the only logical route they haven't tried yet. Now, to maintain this engagement, you can't just drone on. You need pattern interrupts. And I'm not just talking about flashy B-roll or text on screen. The most effective interrupts are shifts in your narrative tone. They go from high energy explanations to a quiet, serious moment about consequences of failure. These shifts resets the viewer's attention span and keep the tension high enough to bridge them all the way to your call to action. But even with high tension and the perfect pathway, there is one video killer that can still destroy everything you've built. It's the silent reason 99% of channels fail before they even hit the upload button. And we're going to fix that right now. Now, this brings us to the most critical part of the entire framework. And the reason I told you earlier that 99% of videos are dead on arrival. We've built the pathway and we've mastered the tension, but now we have to face the video killer head on. Most creators are obsessed with topic-based creation. They look at what's trending or what sounds interesting. But if you want to generate millions, you have to shift to decision-based validation. Think about it. The reason your views aren't converting isn't about a lack of interest. It's a decision gap. Industry data shows up to 70% of B2B buyers consume at least 5 pieces of content before they feel confident enough to make a purchase. And most creators just make more content, but they don't make the right content to bridge that gap. Every video you post must answer one question or objection your customer needs to be solved before they're ready to buy from you. To do this, you need to identify the exact objection barrier for every video idea. Ask yourself, what is one thing keeping my viewer from buying from you right now? And make that the core of your content. If you're selling a high-ticket coaching program, your viewer isn't wondering, what is coaching? They're wondering, will this work for my exact niche? Do I have enough time for this? If your video doesn't dismantle that exact barrier, it's just noise. I've seen the algorithm mirage play out dozens of times. We often think the algorithm is suppressing us, but when we really look at the view to lead ratio, the truth comes out. For example, I had a client whose videos were a hit with topic-based fluff. They had a video that hit 100K views that resulted in exactly 0 sales. We moved to a decision-based model, tackling the objection of ROI in down market. The new video got 2,000 views, but it generated nearly 40K in revenue in the first month. Why? Because we performed a friction audit on it. A friction audit means ruthlessly removing any information that satisfies curiosity, but doesn't actively move the viewer closer to a buying decision. You have to address the inertia-driven skepticism by proactively calling out the risks your viewers perceives. Your solution sounds too good to be true. Say it. Call out the elephant in the room. When you acknowledge the risk, you turn a potential rejection into a moment of building trust. This shifts your success metric from watch time to action momentum. In my 10 years of analyzing the back end of hundreds of channels, the top earners aren't obsessed with their retention graph. They're obsessed with their conversion lag. By making the end of your video the logical start of the viewer's next step, you can actually shorten the sales cycle by weeks, because the video handles the heavy lifting of lead qualification for you. Once you master this decision-based shift, you stop being a content creator and start being a revenue architect. There is one final piece to this puzzle, the engine, that keeps this whole system running without you having to be chained to your desk 24/7. Let's have a look how to automate this. Now that you have a blueprint to stop building a house of cards and acting like a revenue architect, there is one final piece to ensure your pathway doesn't have any leaks. You can have the perfect strategy, but if your script isn't optimized to keep people from clicking away from your video, your decision-based videos will never get the chance to convert. To stop the information overload that kills most channels, you need to watch this video next on how to use this simple scripting method for 70% retention. I'm breaking down the exact mechanics to keep viewers hooked until the very last second of your video. So click there and let's turn your retention graph into a straight line. But thanks for watching.